Today's Living Your Life has a little bit of everything. As our special guest today, not only has one of the largest sickle cell disease and wellness initiatives in the country, she also boasts one of the largest community-based organizations of anybody who's living with sickle cell disease on the western region of the United States. I am so excited to have her today. Dr. Carolyn Rowley is the founder and executive director of Cayenne Wellness Center and Children's Foundation, which happens to be a nonprofit organization dedicated to health and wellness. And in her role as executive director, she specializes in nutrition. I'm telling you, this woman does everything: health psychology and treating patients and their families with sickle cell disease. She's also began another nonprofit organization back in 2005 as a result of her missionary work in Kenya and in East Africa. I'm talking about she's doing everything. We hope to hear about the many other initiatives as we bring on our next guest. I want everybody on Living Your Life to help me please welcome Dr. Carolyn Rowley.
The
I know
queen.
the queen.
The queen. The queen. The queen.
How you doing, Dr. Rowley?
I am blessed. I'm thankful. Thanks for having me here.
No, thank you for coming on, because this is what we do here. And I know you already know Dr. Hebert, I can tell.
Yes, I
The
do.
queen already.
Oh,
That
yeah.
beautiful smile. And all
Yes,
this
I
work
do.
you do for people like myself with sickle cell
Yeah.
disease. Let me just start. How many years have you been doing this, Dr. Rowley?
You know what? Officially, the nonprofit 23, but probably about 30 years.
30 years, because I can already tell you, man. And Dr. Abraham, how do you know? How do you know this lady? How do you know Dr. Riley? What's your experience? Take me back.
Well, let me say this. Back in the days, with COVID, we started talking about some things, and she had me out to her conference, and I did a lecture out there, and I thought it was interesting. Being from New Orleans, it was called Cayenne, so I was like, hey, this must be spicy. It must be kind of hot. So I went out there, and I saw more vendors, more people that were interested in trying to help people with sickle cell. And it takes a special person to be able to herd those cats, because we all know that sometimes, they have a lot of CBOs and everybody's got their different way of doing things, but you got to have some people that bring everybody together. And that's what I saw when I went out there. Plus, it's in Cali. I like Cali.
Yeah, yeah. Dr. Riley, we just gonna get right into it, because you don't just treat us. You try to treat us with the idea of health and wellness in mind. Am I right?
Of course.
And what is the way you go about it? Because talk to me about this 3-4-4 nutritional program. What is that?
I would love to, but let me just take you back a little bit. So we're very holistic here. That's the whole premise. And if I could take you back just even in terms of how I even thought of this, because I had been working at Charles Drew and then UCLA, started a family and said, what do I really want to do? And that's when it came up. I actually wanted to start Cayenne Restaurant, which was a vegan plant-based restaurant, and Cayenne Wellness Center. And after a year, I only had enough money for capital for one. So you can imagine which one that is, the wellness. But nutrition and food has been something that I wanted to do for a long time. So how did that come about? Well, I am beyond vegan. I'm plant-based, everything organic. I prepare everything. And so it works for me. But it came about because when I had my daughter, Dr. Fleiss, Paul Fleiss, you all may know him through his the daughter Heidi Fleiss, but Paul Fleiss was our pediatrician. He said, your daughter is the healthiest vegan baby that I've ever seen. You need to write a book in terms of how you're doing that. So I studied, it took 2 years to literally put all this together, and I came up with 344 because that's exactly what's going on. And I wanted to make sure that not these little gimmicky things that you have to count points and all that. That doesn't work. It literally was you got to eat the food. So 344 just stands for breakfast, lunch, dinner. For breakfast is fresh fruit, dried fruit, and grain. Um, Lunch and dinner, fresh fruit, green vegetable, orange vegetable, and a healthy protein. and and grain. Same thing for dinner. I figured that out. Now, when I first did it, that's because I was still working at Charles Drew doing breast cancer research. So this was actually for the African American women who were diagnosed. But it also just kind of transitioned for people with sickle cell disease, for which I am an adult person with sickle cell disease. And it was perfect because with sickle cell disease, you have, unfortunately, we born with these little deficiencies with magnesium and phosphorus and zinc and other vitamins and phytochemicals. 344 was perfect. By eating that way, you pretty much balance those deficiencies. And so that's how that was born. It's all about food. It makes you feel better, and that's 344. And I couldn't think of of a different kind of name. I'm always open, but I just stuck with 344.
Yeah, she said, what could I name this? I'm gonna go
Well,
with the numbers 344.
well, let me say this though. I'm still caught on Heidi Fleiss's daddy was a pediatrician.
Wow.
Yes,
I mean that's crazy. I mean, well, I mean it's not
yes.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's something. That's a little piece
He
of
was
information. But I mean, if you eat well, you will live well. And I will tell you, people, you got one body. You got one body, and you need to put good fuel in it. People will go to the gas station and say, "Man, I don't want that 87 octane. I want 93 octane, so my car run right. I want it." And then while they putting that in their car, go and buy a bunch of Doritos and Snicker bars and Coca-Cola and put it in their body. You only got one body. You can get a new car. You see what I'm saying? You better put that 87 in that car and go get you some vegetables. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
well, and that's the problem, you guys, because now they have what's called ultra processed food, not just processed food, ultra processed food. So that's what's killing people. And again, got to get back to basics. It's really easy to do. I feel good. I think I look good.
Oh, you
It's
look
it
great.
works. It works for me.
Yeah.
Yo.
I'm healthy, and I think that it'll work for everybody. Seriously, just do one thing different.
Yeah.
One thing different, and I think that people will notice the difference. But that's a good analogy. The car.
Mm.
Yes. And let me ask you this, Dr. Riley. Your wellness center, you have a lot of programs, you provide a lot of resources on daily audit. So as the executive, just talk to me, tell me what your journey is with your
Okay.
wellness center, and how are you helping people like myself with sickle cell disease live a better life. What is
Well,
Cayenne Wellness?
so people say, how did I come up with that? Well, I told you it was always about food, and I put cayenne pepper in everything.
Uh-huh.
So it just made sense because cayenne is medicinal. It has a high level of vitamin C. So there's very medicinal purposes with cayenne. So that's how that started. But with respect to sickle cell, we began because there was a void. And as you know, children with sickle cell disease were being taken care of, but back in the day, they didn't think that people would live well into their adulthood. But we are, and therefore there was a gap. So we started, I'll still remember, and we focused on sickle. September is sickle cell awareness month. We had different activities that grew. So we have support groups. We still do. We now have six across California. And then education is key. And that's how I met my doctor from New Orleans, uh, because he came to one of our summits. And so that's what we're known for is the education to the community as well as to the healthcare providers. And we also do advocacy. And so now that we have some grants that I've been writing, we're doing more. We have a client assistance program. Unfortunately, if you're in a lot of pain, it makes it difficult to work. You may get behind in rent and/or utilities. So we have a client assistance program, and boom, you just have to apply. Tell your community health worker, we will pay that bill. So we
Oh my
have that.
gosh.
We have
Y'all paying bills.
mental health.
Y'all paying
That is
bills out here? Oh,
yes.
Yeah, we'll pay the bill.
wow.
And so we also have mental health. That I'm really excited about that. So we know with pain can come isolation, depression, anxiety, trauma with living. And so last year, we had our initiative, Mental Health and Wellness Initiative. It launched last year in April. Do you know that from April to now, over 50 sickle cell warriors and their families are participating for free? We cover, we have the providers, we cover the cost of their mental health. We reduce that barrier. So we're making it normalized to see a therapist. Over 50 warriors. I'm excited.
Yes, Dr. White, you know how big that is? Because uh, as a person with sickle cell disease, I have to battle depression. I have been there. And because we go to the hospital and we get treated a certain way and all the things that happen, you know, it's going to take a mental effect. And I'm saying, hey, I just want to be regular. I want to be a regular person. I shouldn't be feeling this way because I have sickle cell disease,
Yes.
you know. And those are things that I get what you're doing. Cayenne Wellness Center. It's not just one thing I'm doing because you advocate for people like us. And that's a big part of it. But there's this thing they told me that you will go out here and just protest hospitals. Would you do
So
that?
that's coming. Let me tell you what's happening.
Yes,
So you know,
please. Because
I'm
I
very
got this on my paper. What is this?
I'm very bold. So, we do advocate. And so before pandemic, they would call.
Wait. Dr. Riley, I just want to interrupt you real quick because Kier, you see how she was talking like this?
Yeah, I hear it.
As soon as you said what she's talking about now, she was like, "Oh, no, her
Oh,
whole
let me tell you. Yeah.
everything
Oh, the
changed."
nice lady, the nice doctor, go. I
I
got
like
it.
it. I like it. I like it. Go ahead. Tell it like it is.
I'm
You're very
gonna tell it
bold.
like it is.
You're very
So we
bold.
would advocate and we would go to the hospital and ask them to, don't you see what's happening? And for them to give them the pain medication that they needed on time, what have you. I've already been through too many deaths of warriors going in the hospital, being turned away. We've done that. So the March on Hospitals, we're preparing. It's coming. It's starting in California. Why? Because we've had enough. You don't get a right to have a license to kill us, period. You don't get a right to say, I don't believe you, your pain is not real. You don't get a right to say that. So, what we're doing, we're preparing. And so, we are each hospital will give them an opportunity to say, please come in and talk to us. If they refuse, that's okay. We'll just march and let the world know that this hospital is not hospital friendly. We came up with the 10-point plan based upon the Black Panther platform. And so that 10-point plan involves believe the patient when they say that the pain is real. Jeffrey Glassberg has an excellent article on how to manage when you're in the ER with sickle cell disease. Give them what they need within the first 60 minutes, check again in 30 minutes, stay on top of it. So we have a 10-point plan. We're going to give the hospital an opportunity to meet with us and adopt it. You don't want to adopt it or meet with us? It's okay. We're going to march, civil disobedience. We're getting it all together right now. We're coming to your hospital unless you actually work with us, align with us, so that we can change this whole landscape because enough is enough. We're
I
tired of
told
not being
you, Queen.
believed.
I took quick Kier, didn't I tell you? I told
Yeah,
you, Queen. I
yeah.
told you it
She's
was about
queen.
to
I
happen.
see why. I see why. I'm telling you right now. I I've never been so nervous for a hospital ever. You better just go ahead and adopt this plan because enough is enough. And you know what? So it's so. This is what I love about you, Dr. Riley. I ain't heard nobody talk about that for me. You just
It's scary.
advocate. It is.
Can I tell you why? So this was a Jonah moment for me because when this came, it was a Jonah moment. You're not talking to me. I mean, this is pretty scary. And it wasn't about, I'm not afraid like that. It was what the impact would be. But therefore, we've been going, we've been starting. And so by around February or March, we should be ready because we got to get everything lined up. We have to know who all of the CEOs and COOs are ahead of time. We already have the first 12 hospitals. We hope and pray that they will accept it, but we will be ready to march. We're already getting other organizations involved because we're not going to march alone because
Yes.
enough is enough. That's
Yes.
it.
I,
That's it.
Dr. Hebert, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna get my marching shoes together. I'm
Oh,
coming out there with you,
I
Dr.
got it.
Riley.
Oh, we rolling. We
Yeah,
rolling.
we coming. We're coming. All you
Yeah.
gotta do is just tell me where. Which hospital is it? I want my rights. I'm like,
Well, but look, but you know the crazy part about this is that it's very simple. But
Very.
the reason why it's so difficult is because you're not respected. And that's where this has to end. You look, they don't do this to anybody else. They don't marginalize your pain. They don't do it to anybody else. They treat sickle cell people like you are a drug seeking drug addict. They don't respect it. And like I said, when you're a 3-year-old girl with a little pink dress on, and oh, I have pain. Oh, everybody's all cool. But you've heard me say before, when you're a 5'11" supermodel that has sickle cell, or you a comedian, or you a grown person, then they're like, you're seeking drugs. And that has got to stop. You can't tell me what my pain is. You can't tell
no,
me that. You can't tell
no,
me I don't need IV fluid. You can't
yes,
tell me that stuff. And they do it all
yes,
every day. Every
And
day.
there are no biomarkers for pain.
That's
You
right.
can't say I looked at your lab and your lab doesn't show that you're at a 10.
That's right.
I
Look,
want to see
you got
yeah,
kids.
there are no
yeah.
biomarkers.
I got kids
How
right
do they
now.
do that?
I
Yeah,
got kids right now that have a hemoglobin of 5 because they have
Yes.
persistent fetal hemoglobin, but they have pain, and then they'll see the persistent fetal hemoglobin and tell the 12-year-old kid, or the 5-year-old kid or whatever, that well, your fetal hemoglobin is persistent. That's why you got a 5. So
yeah.
we don't have to do nothing. Stuff like that. It's like, nah, bro.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. And Dr. Riley, you are what we need at the right time and moment. This is exactly what we need. Somebody that's going to threaten hospitals. I've never heard it. I've never heard it.
But you guys, nothing else will work.
That's right.
How are you going? How else can we get it done? Because as long as they're still getting paid to not treat us, they're getting paid to say I don't believe you. How else are we going to do it? There's no policy that's in place. So we have to say at this hospital, no, you can't accept our plan, or we're going to stay here in March. Tell me another way.
Yes.
We'll love to do it.
People always say, oh, you're going to get your respect. You're going to get your freedom. You're going to get your equality. Nobody has ever gotten respect or equality from someone who was the person that actually made them unequal to begin with. You don't give that. That must be taken. That's the way that the world, in the history of the world, nobody ever that was a slave, nobody ever that was the master said, okay, here's your equality. Nobody does that. Because that's not the nature of a human being. And so right now, Carolyn Rowley, you own it. You own it.
Dr. Carolyn, you
Yeah,
are
we're
definitely on
coming.
it.
And I know that, so we're very mindful that some warriors they've already shared with us they want to, but they're afraid that their care then will change. There'll be some consequences. So we're not making anyone do that. That's why we have to partner with others because the same thing it is the pain is real and it's for sickle cell. And so again, that what's happening is people are afraid, rightfully so, but we have civil disobedience. And so we're not going to block any entrances, but we need the world to understand that you don't understand that they're not treating us. They're turning us away and they don't believe us. That's the bottom line. Tell me another way, but this is the way that we're going.
You know what, Dr. Carolyn Rowley, I'm telling you, I'm so proud. Before you go, I always ask people, for our community, what do you think the one thing we should focus on? And be as open and honest as you want to.
The one thing.
Even if
So,
it's several things.
well, you said one. So here's the deal. Um, the reverberating message is that there is no dignity. We have no dignity. That seems to be taken away the moment that we walk in. And, quote, sometimes it appears that we have to beg to be believed. And so, of all the trauma, we have no dignity. And all we want is for warriors to be able to live their life, the best quality life. But I think our dignity at times is stripped away the moment we say to, oh, I have to go to the hospital, and you walk right there and it's stripped away. You're not actually seen as a human being. So I would say dignity now.
Strong,
I'm
strong.
telling you,
Yeah.
Dr. Carolyn Rowley, I have enjoyed this conversation with you.
I have to.
If you need me for anything, you call me and Dr. Hebert. We'll come down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never knew somebody could smile that big would be so crazy. She's so bold.
told you. I told you. And look, I'm gonna see
Yeah,
you on the 15th. I'm gonna see you on the 15th. And
yeah.
Now are you both coming?
I'm not sure. I'm curious. It's a wellness. The big wellness.
Big summit
Yeah, the
in
summit
September.
is in September.
Yeah.
So we gotta make it.
And we have all the icons coming.
Yes.
We got Dexter Darton coming, the actor. Y'all
Yes.
need to come.
Oh yeah.
Hey, the 15th of September.
Yeah.
Well, it's 13th, 14th, 14th, 15th, and 16th.
Yep.
And you tell people where they can find out where they can come see you guys at.
CayenneWellness.org. If you just go to the website,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see that you can, the agenda, Cayenne, like the pepper,
Yeah.
CAYENNE, wellness.org.
There you go. Thank you, Dr. Rowley. Ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause, Dr. Carolyn Rowley. Oh, living your life. You did that.
Mark them out.
Marching.
She
We
said
marching.
like the Black Panthers. I
The
love
Black
it.
Panthers.
There
Thank you,
go.
Dr. Rowley.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.